My name is Shanae George. I'm a psychotherapist and founder of Culture Minds Therapy. My role is to take therapy outside of the office and to you all at home. I bring to you the mind behind your favourite guests. We speak about mental health, therapy and self-care. Chanel, thank you for coming. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling okay. I'm great. I'm good.
Good. I start my interviews in the same way. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being extremely happy, where would you place yourself today?
Today I think I'm between a 7 and 8. Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
Lovely. And you're very much on this reinventing yourself at the moment. Mm-hmm. How is that going for you?
It feels like it's been successful so far. Life is never ever perfect, so there is some things that I'm still figuring out and I'm still trying to kind of understand and work with. But I think the whole reinvention of myself, it comes with just lifestyle change and growing up and maturing and just putting myself in a comfortable space for myself.
I love how diverse you are on your YouTube. And for me, I love the mother content as a mother myself.
Yeah.
I think you're truly inspirational, and what you do, how you navigate your environment, especially as an influencer, working on YouTube, working in the creative space, you're inspirational.
Thank
you.
I
want to ask, how do you manage that environment?
So I think when initially, I wasn't actually sharing much regarding motherhood. I then introduced my eldest son. At the time, he would have been about 6 years old. He's now almost 14.
Wow.
And to be honest with you, I got a lot of flack. I got a lot of, people, disgruntled people, because my mum was supporting me with him, his special needs, and people actually called me a bad mother and all of that. And that was something I had to cope with, and I had to say, okay, right, this information is out here about, my family or my son, and I'm being scrutinized, criticized, and judged for it. How am I going to manage going forward in terms of trying to be relatable and sharing the honest truth about myself, but also being private about it and stuff. So I put my children out there, but now, if anything, at least for the past few years, I've really scaled back in sharing them, and they're in the vlogs maybe for about 2 minutes of that, if anything, out of an hour vlog or 30-minute vlog. So, in my private life, personally, as a mother, it's fantastic. Like, I have a great support system around me. But online, I just scaled back with sharing my family like that, because it was affecting me in terms of like some of the comments and the criticisms I would get, for being like a Black woman, being, a business owner, entrepreneur, and calling myself a mother. How dare I? So yeah, I did get quite a lot of negativity, unfortunately. I guess I wasn't like Mary Poppins mother type thing to some people or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And first of all, sorry to hear that you actually experienced that. As a creative, you want to share.
I never shared that.
Never shared that?
I only shared it for the first time today, because
Oh, wow.
I've just come from a podcast recording as well. And I actually, for the first time I've ever voiced how that affected me.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that, first of all. And I guess when you are in that creative space, you're kind of like balancing how much do you share, how much don't you share, and how do you protect the people around you who you love, especially your children. As mothers, our children are our first priority. And for you to experience, such negativity online, how did that impact you?
I went into a very dark space, and I felt like going forward, I had to almost kind of like prove to everyone, I'm actually this great mom, you know, look at me. Which I've looked back and I'm like, I don't need to do that. I was a great mom. I did what I had to do and do what I have to do so that my children get the best life. But initially, I really let it take a toll on me, actually. And privately, whilst I'm smiling on camera, behind the scenes, I'm dealing with that because it actually is upsetting because, you know, my son's been through so much because of his special needs. And to be honest with you, any mother or parent who has special needs kids or a child, they do dream about how their child would be if they didn't have those special needs, you know. He's absolutely special and perfect. That's absolutely certain. And I treat him as I treat even my youngest, who isn't special needs. To tell you the truth, as a mother who wants the best for their child anyway, it's actually upsetting that we are being trolled because of his special needs, because I know people wouldn't have given me that flack if he wasn't special needs. Yeah. So it's kind of highlighting the issue that I actually have to deal with as a parent, you know, and kind of like rubbing it in my face. So that's how I felt. And of course that set me into a dark place.
Wow. I can't even imagine how that must have been. I know you speak a lot about the divorce and kind of that's been one avenue, but have there been other avenues that kind of led you to the place of reinventing yourself?
Absolutely. I think for me, I've been working towards this process of change for a few years. And one of the main things I wanted to do was work on my weight. My heaviest was 24 stones, and it was taking a toll on obviously my physical being, but also my mental and just not feeling that I'm free enough or being myself enough. So once I got to the stage of actually having weight loss surgery, which I shared on my platform as well, this was a huge part of the reinvention. In fact, that's where it really kicked off for me, although I had the intention of working. The thing with me is I'm very strategic. I'm like, all right, the next phase is this, and then the next phase I'm going to move into that. And that is how you really work on your reinvention strategy. It's not just get up and change. Definitely have a process. It's like putting a business plan together, literally. In 1 year, 1 to 2 years, this is where I'm at, and then in 3 years, this is where I'm at, in 5 years, this is where I'm going to be. So that is how I kind of worked on my reinvention story or journey. And having weight loss surgery and losing almost 12 stones now was a huge process to kind of reinventing myself in all different avenues. My mental well-being, my spiritual well-being. You'd be so surprised even being bigger was a huge weight on me spiritually.
Yeah. Talk about that, because I don't think a lot of people speak about, you know, they don't speak about weight and how that can impact them spiritually. So what's your experience of that?
I think for me, I was clouded by, I couldn't see my future, my destiny as clear as I would have liked to, because I believe that a lot of our future and destiny is obviously, it's all spiritual, and you know, obviously God knows tomorrow before we do, and we've got to be able to have clarity to work towards that. It's not just going to fall in your lap. And having all of the weight, and not just physical weight, but the weight of just life, and that being weighing on me, how am I having that clarity and that, you know, clear vision to move ahead to the next phase I want to be? And then I wanted to say, who's the woman I want to become, you know, physically, emotionally, femininity, which is another thing that I embarked on over the past year plus, just looking into things that make me feel good as a woman and really like basking into that. So that is a huge part of my reinvention story as well. Just wanting to be a woman and feel a woman and just have that mothering, nurturing side of me so that my children can benefit from that as well. I feel that before as well, I was very, very stern perhaps.
Okay.
Not, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, standoffish?
Not even
Or on the
standoffish. I feel like, to put in better words, I just didn't feel free.
Oh, wow.
I didn't feel free. I felt very held back, a little bit lost, and not sure of who I am and where I'm meant to be and who I'm growing to become. You know, so yeah, I needed to shed the weight.
And what was that journey like for you? You know, that must have been very difficult. I know you mentioned on your YouTube that it's something that you had thought about for a long time now. But actually going through that, what was that like?
As in the process?
Yeah.
It was a journey because I initially was meant to do it before the pandemic, and that didn't work out well. I had to sit in the pandemic and pile it all on even more so in the pandemic because it was all at home. And so many things were going on in my personal life, and I wasn't getting to the stage of where I needed to get to. So when I bought my house and moved out and stuff, and I was like, okay, right, I'm here. I need to do this now. I then had consultations, etc. And unfortunately, I couldn't have the surgery the week before I was meant to do it because my iron was low.
Oh,
so I had to discipline myself. This is what we were talking about, well-being, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
And how important it is to take supplements and medication and stuff. I had to be on iron supplements for 7 months to build my iron, to qualify to have the operation, which I did, and I done that, and yeah, that was the process. So it was good because it disciplined me in so many areas with my relationship with food, my well-being in terms of medication, vitamins, etc. Because it's very important. Like now, for the rest of my life, I have to take vitamins and stuff. That's a part of it because that's where you get your nutrition from food. And as I eat less now, you're meant to take supplements to basically balance it off. So yeah.
And what is it like post-surgery? So how are you feeling now after you've done the surgery?
I feel absolutely amazing. It's the best thing I've ever done for myself. It's just brought out so much confidence in me, and I know a lot of people saw my confidence regardless because of the plus size fashion content.
You've always been confident. You've always been confident.
Yeah, but it's even more so. It's confidence with like very little. Like some people will come off confidence, but there's arrogance there as well.
Okay.
I don't have that. I don't need to be arrogant about it. You're confident because you're confident, and that's beautiful. And it's that, and feeling like I do own this, and I'm fine with myself, and just being more free, being more friendly, being more approachable, being able to approach others as well, which is something that I may not have been as confident with doing and things like that. So it's changed so many other aspects of my life.
You've been on YouTube for over, is it 10 years now?
Yeah.
So you've been
it's like 11 years.
I remember you're the OG of the YouTubers, like way back from back in the day. I remember watching your content and just seeing how you've grown from start to where you are now, and you've matured. You brought us on your journey, which has been lovely to see, and lovely to see you blossom. And I guess to experience that on a platform that you created based on just being you can be very kind of like difficult to navigate. Did you ever think about stopping YouTube or coming off that platform because of what you experienced?
Oh yes, I questioned whether it was a necessity to be here, and this is where I started working on different business ventures to see what I could place my hands into, to see if I can exit what I do and focus on that. Those business ventures, not all of them have been successful. Some of them have been successful for a while, but then parked, etc. But the space I'm at right now is I'm actually just vlogging my life. and I'm bloody loving it. I'm just vlogging it, like where I'm going, what I'm doing at home. The kids are in it here and there, especially when they're at home. I put them in it, but as I said, very minimal. So yeah, that's how it's been so far.
Wow. I think everyone loves a vlog. Yeah, we want to feel like we're involved in your lifestyle, but not too involved, but we see what goes on behind the scenes. And I guess, how do you find vlogging and how do you find that experience? Are you getting a lot of positive feedback as opposed to the scrutiny that you got before?
It's a lot positive now, if I'm being honest. I have obviously shared quite a major life change as well, which I've had very few negative Nancy's kind of be like, oh, but you can't really be that happy, could you? But at the end of the day, I think I've discovered I need to work on a format that is comfortable for me. Like, I feel that I was putting my hands in different areas on YouTube to see what really makes me excited to get up and be on this platform. And vlogging is something I've been doing for years anyway, but it would be like once in a blue moon or whatever the case, or like maybe there'll be like, what's the thing that happens at Christmas again? Vlogmas.
Open up the calendar.
Yeah. I remember when we even all had like vlogging channels literally dedicated for vlogs, and I was even in on that. That was years ago. But recently, especially after I just rebranded to Chanel Boateng, back to Chanel Boateng, I've just sat back and saw what does my audience like to see about me, and they like to see my life and what I get up to day to day. So I've just said, okay, let's just vlog the life. I vlog my life and people are just coming along with my journey. Like even today I'm vlogging that I'm here today in an interview, etc. Or earlier on I was at Westfield, so yeah.
I love that. And I love how you kind of tested the waters. So you kind of dipped yourself into different avenues, different industries, and saw what worked best. And it just goes to show how what's the word I'm looking for? It just goes to show how, I'm trying to look for the right word. My mind's gone blank. It just goes to show how invested you are in what you do. And how you really care about the message that you put across to other black women, other women in general, other mothers.
Yeah.
I know you've been very vocal about your divorce, and you've spoken about what that's been like for you and how you've kind of reinvented yourself off of the back of that. How did that feel to even come out with that and kind of share that story on your YouTube with your followers?
I had to prepare towards that. And as corny as it sounds, a literal look in the mirror, no, not that extreme, but literally like, okay, this is how I'm going to say it, and this is what I'm going to say, and that is what I'm going to put out. And I mean, it was almost a year since all of this was happening, like in my private life, and I knew the time that I wanted to share it. I was debating whether I share it in 2022 or start the year afresh and be like, bam, this is it, this is my first video of the year. And in the end, it was my first video of the year. I did share that piece of information, and yeah, I had to prepare and plan towards it. That was very important. I closed the comment section on that video.
I can see that.
Because it's not about the opinions. And even the people who genuinely feel sorry or feel bad or feel sad. And to be honest with you, I have quite a great loyal audience who the majority will be, sympathetic, understanding, etc. Some people will be like, oh, why? And have all the types of questions. And unfortunately, I had to even silence their opinions as well. Everyone just had to be silenced on my situation because it's not up for debate. It's not up for discussion. It's not up for an argument. And if anything, if we're going to speak about it, I think I'd done a video shortly afterwards where it was a Q&A of me just firing back on what people were thinking or speculating in their minds. because it's very important that my audience are respected, and because I'm a lifestyle blogger, and I've had friends be like, Chanel, you don't even need to share all that. You know what? I don't, but I will, because they invested into me, and that specific aspect of me, my family life, my private life, etc. Although, you know, I've done all the other stuff like beauty and fashion and stuff, a big part of that was seeing my wedding and my birth vlog, etc. So why not share the divorce? As sad as it is, it's got to be something I've got to be honest about in my time as well, not when, I mean, the speculation was going on for a while. Everyone was like speculating, talking, asking questions, people trying to phone my sister or friends, be like, what's going on with Chanel? I'm not seeing her husband in the content, like, in my time I'll speak about it.
Wow. So I guess it's almost like you put in boundaries. Absolutely. And you was like, I'm gonna, as much as I invest in my channel, as much as I love my followers, I still need to be boundaried in this, and I'm gonna share with you, but I'm gonna share at the right time and say the right thing to protect me, because you also have to protect yourself and your family. You know, coming out with on such a big thing about your personal life, you know, would have been difficult for you, and as you said, you really had to plan to get to that stage of being able to share that and really let the world know what you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I've got to think of the kids, particularly AJ, which we share a child, you know, we both have a child together, and the little one, and him growing up and seeing that, or his friends seeing it. So I had to let that information out in a nice, refined and classy way, so that it's something that doesn't affect his future, or, you know, or anything like that. So that all had to be considered as well.
So you put in a lot of thought to the process,
absolutely.
essentially, from start to kind of end. And one question for me is, for mothers who have gone through that, or just not even mothers, for women who have gone through a divorce, you know, very heartbreaking, very difficult time, what advice or what encouraging words would you give to them?
Wow, I think there's so many things that I could advise women. I think it's sorry, brain fart, sorry. I would advise women to take their time in making their decision, actually, depending on the circumstance, because there's certain relationships or marriages that you have to get out ASAP, because it might even just be a dangerous surrounding. And I think I don't advocate for divorce. Like, I'm not saying that get out of it. I would definitely advise people to seek counsel, even if it's not literally with a therapist, which I do have a therapist. But speaking to their elders or people around them, like, I didn't just file. I spoke to pastors that married us, my current pastor, my friends, my mother, like, and obviously prayed upon it myself. Just I just had to meditate over it and stuff. And obviously, it's always a good thing to try with your partner and see if anything can be, you know, reconciled, or can be, you know, looked upon, or, you know, worked between yourselves, etc. I think it's this base. It's hard to give an overall answer on this is what I think you should do. It really is based on circumstances and your situation, I think, on how you should handle it. But I think I would say prepared perhaps for the long haul of perhaps back and forth. Obviously the divorce process is kind of long. You've got to wait weeks to hear back from the courts, etc. There's also the finance thing that can take a toll on your mental health and stuff. So for me, it was really important to really find myself and get my healing prior and during the process of this divorce process. so that I'm not, like, I don't destroy myself. And also prepare my heart for the worst, which sounds ridiculously scary. But if I lose it all, I've got to be prepared for that.
Wow.
That's crazy to hear, isn't it? To be honest, I'm in a good standing position, don't worry. But it is possible. You have no idea what any court in the country would say regarding divorce, and it's unfortunate to say you have to prepare for the worst that could come out of it, but that's the reality in case that does come to it, and be prepared to, I guess, start afresh and start a new life based on what the outcome could be.
Wow, you said so many good things there. You said a lot, but everything was in context, and I love it because when we hear about divorce, whether it be from the lady or the male, a lot of people say, yeah, we got divorced, and they don't give context. And when I say context, I mean, as you mentioned, you spoke to family, you spoke to your pastor, you spoke to people, so you did try your best to kind of see how you can navigate this difficult situation and if there was any hope in the situation. And how did that feel? What was that process like speaking to family and trying to get some support on that situation?
Funnily enough, pretty much almost everyone in my personal life who I spoke about this with was on my side. I obviously haven't gone into detail, but once you hear my story, instantly you'll be like, oh my God, girl, I get it. This isn't healthy, this isn't right, this isn't normal. And people really respected how I feel, and understand why I wanted to be out of the situation, because it just was completely unhealthy for me. You do have the one or two church aunties that will be like, fight for you to stay, and it's like, based on what exactly? I know that this is the cap on what I will get out of this marriage, and it's not like it's not good enough, because life isn't perfect, but I don't want it to destroy me. It's not worth it destroying me, because my kids especially need the best of me. So yeah, but I think it's very good to confide in people. A lot of people say keep your marriage secret, private, which obviously, yes, I agree, like it's between you and your partner. But where it gets to a danger zone as well, where you know that at this point it can't be salvaged or fixed, and it's affecting you to the point where you're almost completely diminished and there's nothing left, that's when I think it's right to speak to someone you trust, to help, at least to help you with the situation, even to help fix it, so it may not go down the divorce route,
Yeah, because I can imagine people wanting to suffer and not suffer. I can imagine people wanting to be silent, maybe due to embarrassment or not feeling like a failure, and kind of just wanted to keep it to themselves. And like you said, keep it a secret and not really share or open up to a trusted person about how they're feeling. So I guess that's very encouraging for anyone out there who's experiencing this, to hear what you've had to say and how you kind of navigated that situation. And what I'm getting from you were very careful in everything you were doing, but you were protecting yourself during that process.
It was such a big thing. I had to enjoy my life in this process, like do things that I want to do, splurge on myself, spoil myself a little, go places, travel, do things with my friends, do things with my children, my mum, the people who give me delight in my life, including myself. Also work on my spiritual life. Big thing as a woman who's in my faith as a Christian. That was a huge switch for me, just drawing closer to God. And I think this is why I'm okay, and people find it hard to believe that I'm so fine. I don't know why. I'm just like, I'm actually really good. You'll be so surprised, and it's because I really prepared my heart for all of this. I'm not saying I have perfect days every day. Sometimes I ponder upon it and I'm like, damn, all of this has happened to me. It's actually a lot for a person to take, but I don't dwell there. I can't dwell there. I have to just, fixate my mind on the great stuff that is to come or what I've got planned, even with all of this mess.
And how do you do that? So when you are having those down days, how do you fixate your mind on something helpful for you to kind of focus on, as opposed to going down in a spiral?
I think for me, I've just always been excited on the next phase and the next move for me. So when I think about working towards that, it kind of draws me out of being in a place where I can't operate and work towards that. So to cut a long story short, I get over things very quickly. And I know some women may struggle with moving on, especially from an ex-partner who they was madly in love with. I'm the type of person that I will get over you. At some point I will get over you and I will move forward.
I love the fact that you've gone through this hardship, but you can still see the light at the end of the tunnel, and know that I will get over you. And although it's a sad situation, it's happened, but you see your future ahead, and that's the bright star, if you would like to call it, the brightness at the end of the tunnel. And let's kind of focus on the new Chanel, the up and coming Chanel, what Chanel's got planned. So talk to me a bit about what you're excited about.
So I think my rebrand has been very exciting. It's been it was in almost a year in the works, to be honest with you, just switching back to Chanel Boateng, because that was my original name online and stuff. Well, I had a really cheesy name before, but for the most part, people still very much recall that being my name. And just to sitting back and planning on the photo shoot, and down to everybody who was a part of the shoot, the creative team, where we was going to shoot, how we was going to execute. That whole process was super exciting for me, and it was a success. I did go through a weird patch, a very unfortunate patch at the end of 2021, business-wise, where I was running a very successful agency, and unfortunately the team around that disappointed me. So by the end of that year, I basically sacked everyone that was working with me because it was really bad. And I was like, I'm a one-girl band going forward. So I was by myself managing my whole business by myself for a while before I got a new management team who were fantastic. I'm still working with them a year on. And I have no assistant, no editor and stuff like that. But very recently, especially post Chanel Boateng relaunch, it's been very important for me to trust again, because I basically ended up having trust issues for people coming into my team and messing up my stuff again. So I'm in the process of, interviewing people to assist and creatives. I've now got a video editor again. I was doing everything myself. I was like, no one's touching my stuff. I became super, super, super anxious about just opening up the doors again. But I realized in building a great business or, project, so to speak, you need a great team. And I've had to just learn the process of kind of opening my heart again to work with new creatives, talented people. There's amazing people out there. I just got to be patient and find the right people to join the team, and then I can keep going with what I have planned.
Definitely. Your future sounds very bright. And I want to ask you, how do you take care of your well-being?
Well, I feel that I could do better.
Okay.
I could do better. I know exactly what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
Because I've done it, and I was like, oh, I feel good.
But it's the actual doing it.
It's the actual doing it,
maintaining
consistent with it and maintaining it. Because I'll be honest with you, I got into a habit of just being incredibly busy and not focusing on looking after myself. Even taking your vitamins and remembering to take medication is part of your well-being. And there will be times where I'm like up and off, not even a drink of water. And that's disappointing. Like, we've got to be
literally.
So a part of my like taking care of my well-being is to literally do those simple things. Like, make sure you remember to take your vitamins, Chanel. Make sure you remember to take your iron tablets, and you know, even if it's not a banquet for breakfast, have a cup of tea and a biscuit. You know, do you know what I mean?
One thing I like is I focus on that just one thing.
Yeah.
I guess as mothers, we're so busy, we're always on the go. And when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing so many different things, it's like you don't have enough time to fit in everything. So for me, it's just one thing. Like you said, if it's a cup of tea and biscuits, I'm proud.
I love a cup.
I'm proud. Literally. It's been a pleasure interviewing you. I'm trying to think more questions, because I really want to focus on who you are now and you reinventing yourself, because I think that's such a powerful, you're on a very powerful journey and very powerful story. And I know you've gone through a lot of hardship and a lot of difficulty, but I see the beauty in you now. And I think you're so, as I said in the beginning, as a mother, it's so encouraging to see other mothers who are bossing it, who are entrepreneurs, who are just doing incredible. You've had your story, you've gone through that, you've opened up about that with us, but now you're on a journey of just becoming the better version of yourself. And I just want to encourage you to keep going, and you're going to have your down days, which you know, but just keep going, because you inspire me, you're inspiring your followers, and I'm so grateful to actually have you here and just to sit and talk to you and get to know you. You know, I've been watching your YouTube videos, I get to know you online, but meeting you in person is just such a beautiful feeling.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for sharing your story with me. And I just wish you all the best in everything.
Thank you.
I'm always here if you need me. Where can we find you on YouTube? Put the plugins, your website, everything. Let us know where we can find you.
So it's simply type Chanel Boateng on YouTube. I'm there. Then all the platforms is now Chanel Boateng. Just Instagram, it's been a bit weird.
Okay.
But we're moving that. We're going to switch the name very soon, hopefully. We get attention from them. But ChanelBoateng.com has everything. It has like my gallery and everything, and then links to my social media and stuff as well.
Love it, love it. And to end, on a scale of 0 to 10, how are you feeling now?
I'm feeling good. Probably about the same. Like 8.
Lovely.
Yeah, just very confident and happy and chilled. Very chilled and mellow right now, because the next move for me is I'm going to my friend's party.
Oh wow.
So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, give me a cuddle.
Oh,
Thank you so much.